Hello, welcome to the weather update. It's almost 10 o'clock, August 28th. And yeah, pretty much stuck in the clouds today. You could see that, but the rain luckily stayed away. We're actually in a gap. There was some showers up to the north, and this is the stalled front off to the south where there was some steadier rain. But luckily, we haven't gotten into any of that. It's been a relatively dry day, although cloudy. Looking at the radar here, you can see again that rain is off to the south, and there's some showers again to the north. Showing you what the sky looked like today. Obviously, kind of a gray. There were a few breaks, but more or less a gray day across the area. You can see that. So anyway, let's go. Let's do our statistics first. Get that out of the way first, because obviously we've got to talk about Hurricane Franklin. 73 was the high today. 7 degrees below normal at Islip. But the low is above normal, so that only puts us 2 degrees below normal. For Central Park, only 1 degree below normal, but the high was 6 degrees below normal. Again, 76, which is definitely below normal, but, with the east wind and all the clouds around, So let's go talk about Franklin, because this is what I really want to talk about. This thing has just exploded into a 100. It's a monster now, all right? So here, let's get to the latest advisory. Now, luckily, it stays out to sea. Thank God it does. Franklin is now a very powerful Category 4 hurricane, and I wouldn't even be surprised if it makes it all the way up to Category 5 at this point. And again, the models just can't handle the warmth in the oceans that's fueling these storms. So it says life-threatening surf and rip currents are occurring along the coast of the southeast United States. So we are going to see that make its way up further to the north. Dealing with the surf. So as of 8 p.m., its location is 29 north, 71.1 west, about 440 miles, west-southwest of Bermuda. Maximum sustained winds are 150 miles an hour, moving north at 9 miles an hour. Minimum central pressure, look at how low the pressure is, 926 millibars to 7.34 inches. That is extremely low. Might even set a record. We have a tropical storm watch in effect for Bermuda. As of 8 p.m., the eye of Hurricane Franklin was located near latitude 29 north, longitude 71.1 west. Franklin is moving toward the north near 9 miles an hour. A northward to northeastward motion with a slightly faster forward speed is expected during the first few days. On the forecast track, the center of Franklin is expected to pass well to the west of Bermuda. Luckily, this stays out to sea, but it is a monster. Maximum sustained winds, once again, have increased to near 150 miles an hour. It's a Category 4. And additional strengthening is possible tonight, but gradual weakening is expected to begin late tomorrow. Hurricane force winds extend outward to 35 miles from the center, and tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 150 miles from the center. And again, the minimum central pressure is 926 millibars to 7.34 inches. So you're ready to see what this thing looks like? Let's take a look at it on the satellite, because you're going to be blown away. Here we go. Look at that. Look at that. That is definitely going to be the thumbnail for this video. My God, have you ever seen a more perfectly looking symmetric hurricane in your life? I mean, it is beautiful to look at. Wow. Look at that. That thing is just... Look at that. You can see the eye. It's got a big eye, too. Look at the eye. Look at that, especially as it goes down. Let me see if we can pause. Oh, we can't pause this. But look at that. That is incredible. That is just incredible. I wish I could pause this. Just to show you what that looks like. I mean, that is incredible. So, really incredible here. There is no way to pause this, but we can actually look at it on another satellite. Let's go to Caribbean here and look at the Caribbean here. Yeah, so we can... Let's run a 96 frame loop so you can see how this thing has strengthened. Yeah, 96 frame. From last night, this is going to be a long one, I think. So you can see how it's just gained so much strength. You can see how that eye has become much clearer. Look at that. I mean, that's just incredible right there. So, wow. What a storm that thing is. Wow. What a storm. I wish there was a way to, again, pause this. You think they would have a way to pause this, but there is no way to pause it, which is annoying. I don't know why they don't have a way to pause this. The only way to really pause this, and the only way I can actually pause this is to do this. So hold on a second, because this is really incredible. So there it is. I mean, look at that. So, I mean, that is just incredible. Look at that. Just beautiful looking storm. Thank God it's going out to sea. Imagine if it wasn't going out to sea. And one day it will happen. We will get a storm like this that'll go ahead right for us, and it will be a very strong storm when it gets here. So again, this is Franklin, a real monster. We're going to take a look at it also on the Tropical Tidbits site here. Man, look at that thing. My gosh. That eye is perfectly clear. You can stand in the middle of the eye, and it will be clear skies, probably deep blue skies, and then you get the stadium effect where you're surrounded by the storm. So that is incredible. But luckily, like I said, it's not going to affect land, but it will it will affect land, but it's not going to hit land. But its effects are going to be far-reaching. So going back to the map here, hurricane map, this map here. You'll see stays a major hurricane really pretty far out, and then you look at it. It'll probably, who knows, this might even impact Europe eventually, but you can see luckily stays out to sea. Only tropical storm watches for Bermuda, but again, all across the East Coast we're going to be seeing this thing kicking up the surface quite a bit. But that's not the only storm we have to talk about. We have Idalia too, which is definitely going to be starting to strengthen. So let's take a look at the latest on Tropical Storm Idalia. Idalia is almost a hurricane now, near the western tip of Cuba. Life-threatening storm surge and dangerous winds becoming increasingly likely for portions of Florida. As of 7 p.m., its location is 21.7 north, 85.1 west, about 20 miles southwest of the western tip of Cuba, and about 250 miles southwest of the dry Tortugas. Maximum sustained winds are now 70 miles an hour, almost a hurricane. And this is the one we've got to worry about. Although Franklin is impressive, it's going to stay out to sea. This is the one that's going to impact land. So north is the movement at 8 miles an hour, and then central pressures already down to 983 millibars, 29.03 inches. All right, and we'll go to the map in a moment, look at all the warnings. But as of 7 p.m., the center of Tropical Storm Idalia was located near latitude 21.7 north, longitude 85.1 west. Idalia is moving toward the north near 8 miles an hour. A northward motion is expected to continue through the night, followed by a faster north-northeast motion Tuesday and Wednesday. On the forecast track, the center of Idalia is forecast to pass near or over western Cuba during the next few hours, over the eastern Gulf of Mexico on Tuesday, and reach the Gulf Coast of Florida within the hurricane warning area on Wednesday. That's right, there's a hurricane warning already posted for the Gulf Coast of Florida. Maximum sustained winds are near 70 miles an hour. Rapid strengthening is predicted. And this is the thing with rapid strengthening. We've seen this more and more due to climate change. We saw that with Franklin. I mean, it went from a Category 1 hurricane all the way to a Category 4 literally overnight. And I could tell that it was doing that when we did the weather update last night, that it was rapid strengthening. And Idalia is going to do the same thing. Remember, plenty of warm water to work with there in the Gulf. And it's not just warm water at the surface, but the warm water actually goes deep. So it's got plenty of warm water to work with. Rapid strengthening is predicted during the next day or so. Idalia could become a hurricane at any time and is forecast to become a major hurricane now. So at least a Category 3 by late Tuesday or Tuesday night. Tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 150 miles from the center. Casablanca near Havana, Cuba, reported a wind gust of 51 miles an hour. So, and again, the minimum central pressure is 983 millibars, 29.03 inches. Let's go to the latest cone, and you'll see here we've got hurricane warnings for the western tip of Cuba as well as much of the Gulf Coast of Florida. And the Gulf Coast is going to be affected quite a bit, even the Keys. There's going to be some storm surge with this thing, all right? There's going to be some major storm surge with this thing. So this is going to cause a lot. And then where it hits in western Florida, Tampa, this may be the one that hits Tampa, and really, Tampa's dodged the bullet a couple of times with some bad storms. This could be the one that really puts Tampa underwater. You see here, and then it goes across Florida, and then reemerges as a tropical storm over South Carolina, and then it goes due east. Thank God, again, we have that. This is getting kicked out, because if it was doing the Isaias thing, we could be in a whole world of hurt here on the whole East Coast. But thank God it's not doing that. It's unlike Isaias. It's going to the right and going out to sea, but it still could cause problems as far as heavy rain into Georgia and South Carolina. So let's take a look at Idalia on the satellite image. That'll be the next one we've got to look at here. So here's Idalia. Yeah, right. You can see. Oh, look at that! Some really bright blow-up convection. So I know it looks a little disorganized, but once it emerges out of Cuba, it's going to strengthen very rapidly, and you can see it's already beginning to do that. Look at that bright white there. There's some really major convection going on, and the storm is really, really strengthening quite a bit. Let's go to the tropical tidbits now, and well, first we're going to go to the spaghetti models here. So I know I didn't show the spaghetti models with Franklin, but you can see it's more or less, who knows, it might even hit Greenland. That would be a first. But hey, in this world of climate crisis, anything is possible. Let's take a look at Idalia right now. This is Idalia, and hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. Yeah, look at that blow up right there. So yeah, this thing is really going to get going once it gets out over the Gulf, and it's going to explode. Let's take a look at the spaghetti models, and you'll see, fortunately, they all take that right. There's one that actually takes it back and hits the east coast of Florida. You never know, all right? But most of them take it due east, just due east off the coast. So let's go take a look at the intensity guidance on these models, and you can see the models are underestimating this thing. So I think it's going to be at least a Cat 3. It might even have the potential of being a Cat 4. Again, the models just don't have a handle on these storms because they just don't have. They don't take into account how much warmer the warmer world we live in. They can't update the models fast enough for these things. So that's the thing. So take a break from this. We'll look at our weather in a minute. So again, looking at the weather and hazards map, again, you see that hurricane warning now in effect for much of Florida. Much of Florida is under a hurricane warning. Tampa all the way out nothing for the southeastern Florida, but you can see much of it's in. And then we have also tropical cyclone statement here. What's that? Come on. Hurricane watch. So this thing will probably still be a hurricane when it hits inland. So I think all of Florida will probably be under a hurricane warning, except for the southeastern part at this point. And this is going to cause tremendous flooding in Florida as it makes its way there. For the rest, not a whole lot going on. Again, we do have some red flag warnings, excessive heat watches and warnings in the southwest. But other than that, not a whole lot going on. Let's look at some observations here. And speaking of the heat, this is one thing I forgot to mention yesterday. Let me go to this and just show you this here. I did make a post about this, but all-time record highs for Texas and Louisiana. Beaumont in Texas, these are all-time, all right, in recorded history. Beaumont, 111. Houston, 109. That tied the all-time record. New Iberia, Louisiana, 109. Lafayette, Louisiana, 110. Lake Charles, 109. Lufkin, Texas, 111. And New Orleans, 105. And again, these are all-time records, not just records for the day, but records throughout recorded history. So it just goes to show you the kind of heat that we are dealing with in this warmer world that we are living in under this climate crisis. So you can see a cool but a little bit humid out there, not too bad, and you can see 68 degrees, dew point 64. So just showing you what the day was like at Islip, so you can see 68, mostly cloudy conditions. We only got in the low 70s today, mid 70s. That was the dew points not too high, mid 60s, a little bit humid out there, but not nothing too bad. And very cool, good day to walk, even though it was gloomy. At least it's comfortable out there with that easterly breeze. And again, we'll put the highs on the map. You can see generally low 70s, pretty much low to mid 70s everywhere. And then let's go to the lows, and 63, not too much radiational cooling overnight. So we'll go back to the highs here. We'll just show you. We're going to go look at the south and see how hot it was there today. See if it's dropped a little bit. So yeah, not quite as hot as yesterday. Yesterday was, like I said, the heat is getting pushed down, but you can see we have these hurricane warnings now in effect. So let's go to the station plots. Look at some observations here. I know we're probably not going to be able to see too much here from Franklin here, which is somewhere in this area. Let's see, this site here, this buoy, 84 degrees, dew point 81. I'm curious about the swells here. It had a max gust already to 69 since midnight. So I'm just curious. Wave height is 12.5 feet at that buoy. Let's take a look at this one here. Wave height 9.8 feet. So plenty of moisture to work with, plenty of warm, moist air. And you can see dew points in the 80s in a lot of these spots. So plenty of humidity here for this storm to deal with. And then we have this storm over here. And again, wind gusts of 65 miles, and I reported at this buoy already. And then 80 degrees, dew point 79. Wave height 11.5 feet. But things are going to get a whole lot worse with this. So we really have two big storms to watch, but only one that's going to impact land. But it's going to be a doozy for Florida for sure. And we're going to look at a lot of that. So let's go to the radar. And you can see here, again, there's that rain more or less offshore. Some more rain up here in Duluth. MODIS satellite. Let's go to the MODIS satellite. Take a look at, because we still have the wildfires. Look at all this smoke that we have going on in northwestern territories. My gosh, Yellowknife. These fires are just completely out of control. A lot of dense smoke making its way into Alberta. We got fires in British Columbia. Though it looks like it's quieted down a little bit in Northern California and Oregon, but this smoke is definitely going to make its way down to the United States. You can definitely see what looks like another cold front here. And again, here is Franklin and Idalia over here. So let's go to the let's go look at a few more satellite images here. I think I might have closed them up. No, I didn't. Okay, let's go to a few more here. North Canada, northern U.S., because we got to talk about the smoke too. There's so many different things to talk about now going on. There's so many different problems as we can't deal with this climate crisis. So you can see, again, here's the smoke as I'm running this just to show you the smoke. You can see the smoke right here. A lot of smoke, got a lot of smoke over there. And that's not going to be good for that area. There's going to be more heat, and just these fires are going to continue. If we're going to go look at some of the weather observations in that area, which we are going to do. Let's see if we can find some here. 91 in British Columbia right now. That is not good. That's very hot. Let's see what we got here. So there's a lot of heat up here. Let's look at Northwest Territories here. 89 degrees. That's very hot for that area. 92 in Johin. That's really hot. That's really hot for that area. I'm trying to find Yellowknife. Yeah, where's Yellowknife? Can't find it. That's not Yellowknife, but 89. I just want to get an observation for Yellowknife. Why can't I find Yellowknife? What am I doing wrong? Oh, there it is over here. A little further to the east. So not quite as hot in Yellowknife. 72. But they got through recording smoke. And it's a pretty dense smoke in some of these spots here. And again, where that heat is. That heat in British Columbia is not good at all. I'm going to have 88. So this warmer air is probably make its way over to Yellowknife. You can see 3-mile visibility with smoke there. So, yeah, they got a lot of big heat dome here in Canada. Again, that's been a problem for a long, long time. And then we got the tropics. So a lot of different things going on. A lot of different disasters that are unfolding once again. But luckily for us, again, it's been pretty calm. So let's go to the models here, tropical tidbits, and look at the surface model here at the GFS. So you'll see what happens. So you can see on your right there, it's Franklin, continuing to intensify. By the way, you'll see we have rain chances tomorrow and tonight, and then Wednesday we start drying out. There's Franklin passing by. It'll probably make its closest approach on Wednesday. Idalia, meanwhile, makes landfall. It looks like it'll start affecting Florida probably late Tuesday night, more or less. Wednesday, it's going to start affecting Florida, making a landfall in the morning, crossing Florida. I have this high building down that keeps Idalia to the south and gives us nice weather. And yeah, look at that. You see, look at that. It's actually pushing the remnants of it back into Florida because there's such a strong blocking pattern, because the jet stream is just completely out of whack here. You'll see if we look at the jet stream here. So it is the GFS that's doing that. So now it might do a loop-to-loop. So here's Franklin getting picked up and then doing a loop. Yeah, because the jet stream is such a strong block that it pushes it down. That's nuts. I wonder if the European is doing that. Let's take a look at the European. Just the 18Z, it should show it. Let's see what we got here, if it does the same thing. It looks like the euro might be doing this too, so it might wind up doing a loop-de-loop now. Oh, that would be completely nuts if it does that. That would be completely nuts, but not unlikely at this point. But we got to deal with the landfall. This European also showing a landfall again Wednesday. It's going to be probably late Tuesday night, early Wednesday for northwestern Florida. So now we're going to go look at the southeast, and we're going to take a look at a couple more models here, and take a look and see what this does with the Idalia. So this is the European here, and again you can see, look at how deep it gets at 930. That's very low. So yeah, that's the kind of strengthening that we could have here. If we look at the winds, surface winds here, and they are in knots, which is why I don't like using this. I think it's you can see the kind of intensification that we have. This is not a accurate representation, which is why I don't use it. I usually just use the MSLP and precip, and there will be a lot of rain with this. So looking at the European model, we're going to take a look and show you how much rain could fall in this area. At least 3 inches or more, 3 to 6 inches probably at least in this area. Looking at the GFS, also in that agreement, there could be some areas of yellow. Maybe some areas might even get isolated spots could get close to a foot of rain, depending on where depending on where the exact heavy rain sets up. Back to GFS here. So you can see there. So this is going to have, and then it's nuts. So let's take a look at some more short-range models. We have the NAM as well. I don't have enough of the 0Z, but we can use the 18Z NAM. NAM gets it even deeper. Oh my God, 916. So you know what kind of winds you're going to have, correlating with that. Some really intense, strong winds. And then that moves. There's going to be a lot of rain too, and you can see there's the NAM. That's really deep. So the NAM's even deeper. Let's look at the HRRR. So here's the HRRR here, which is too weak, and it has that 9.8. The HRRR is it's going to be stronger than that. So it's why it's hard to model these things. You can only assume and prepare for the worst, and I think we're going to see a landfall of at least a Category 3 hurricane in northwest Florida, and maybe stronger. So let's talk about our weather, and then we'll get back to Florida. And I'll probably have extra updates on this as well. So rain chances, we've got some rain chances. You can see it looks like it's trending drier, though. A lot of the rain is staying to the south. Not seeing a whole lot of rain chances tomorrow. And Wednesday, it looks like just a line of thunderstorms would wind up moving through, perhaps in the late morning, early afternoon hours, a shower, and that would be your cold front right there, that would come on in. Look at our dew points here. Obviously, the east winds, it's going to be staying a little on the humid side, but it will also be staying cool. And here's the front coming through here for Wednesday. You can see here, right here. Temperatures obviously will also stay cool. Looking at temperatures tomorrow, probably, again, not getting very high, only 70s. And then for Wednesday, might start off cool, and then if the sun can come out in the afternoon, maybe it'll warm up a little bit. So let's get to the sky. Let's get to the GFS now. Look at the rest of this week. I'm not really going to talk too much about it because of everything going on everywhere else, but we'll just show you what's going to happen for us. So dew points obviously will drop Wednesday, especially later in the day. And then for Thursday, much more comfortable there. Thursday and Friday, northeast to east winds, and then eventually by the weekend, we might see that become southerly again, and we'll see the temperatures increase as a result of that. Temperatures obviously not really going to heat up too much. Here's Wednesday, Thursday, 70s, Friday, maybe near 80, and then maybe by the weekend we warm it up a little more into the 80s. All right, skies. I'm not going to show the GF. I could look at the GFS. There's disagreements on where, the cloud shield from Idalia will go, how far north it'll get. But either Thursday or Friday we'll have clear skies. We'll obviously have plenty of clouds tomorrow, probably. Let's go to the RGEM, which I prefer using for skies at this point. So looking at tomorrow, you'll see some clouds. There might be some breaks in the afternoon, perhaps. And then for Wednesday, we might actually break out into mostly sunny skies in the afternoon. And then we have this cloud shield from Idalia that will skirt by on Thursday. You can see it's skirting by. Could be some pretty serious clouds on Thursday. Just be aware of that. And then Friday would be a mostly sunny day. All right, so let's talk more about Idalia right now. All right, and let's do the smoke. We'll run the smoke model as well. You're just going to run the vertically integrated smoke, and hopefully we'll get into this clean air over here. I think the smoke is going to be pushed just down to the Midwest. I think that's what it looks like. This only goes out to 8:30, but oh, it looks like it is. It looks like it is trying to head toward us. So yeah, it looks like the smoke might actually try to head toward us. We'll have to see what happens. This is 8:30. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. It's too far in advance, really, to say where it's going to go. I'm hoping that it stays to the west, so at least it doesn't interfere. But, you know, right now we got to deal with these tropical systems. I'll worry about the smoke. We'll talk more about it on Wednesday, I think, or maybe tomorrow night, a little bit, but not too much. Let's take a look at some more models here. Let's go to the windy.com model, which uses the European, and we'll show you the impacts of Idalia here. All right, and this is the windy.com model. We'll just show both storms here, kind of. Oh, and you can see this storm actually is going to strengthen even more. But let's go and look at this one here. This is Idalia. All right, so you can see it's already going to be affecting the west coast of Florida. This is tomorrow night. This is the European. A little bit slower. All right, you can see it makes that landfall early in the morning timing is going to be in the morning. Perhaps it makes the landfall over northwestern Florida. And this is like I said, this isn't the strongest winds. I better put it in here. But again, I think the models are underestimating this thing. So you can see it's going to get stronger. Here we go. I think it's going to get much stronger than what this model is showing. And you can see rapid strengthening on landfall here. You see the white there. That's where you're going to have some really damaging winds. They're going to come in and cause a lot of problems. And again, this model is underestimating. All we have is the track. We can look at the NAM as well with this. The NAM is significantly more powerful, by the way. And I think the NAM is a little more accurate as to what we're going to be looking at, because you can see, looking at this thing, this is going to be a very powerful storm here. And it's going to make that landfall again Wednesday morning. The overnight hours. Look at this thing. It's going to really, you're going to have a really, this NAM is, I think, it got this storm, I think, a little more. It's actually doing a better job as to deal with the strength of this thing. But this is the kind of thing you're going to have to deal with here in Florida. Again, early Wednesday morning, this thing's going to make landfall, and it's going to cause a lot of problems. But you don't just have to be in the center to get affected by this. So I'm going to jump back to the European model here, and we're going to look at the waves, because this elevated surf is going to affect Florida. So you can see there's going to be a lot of storm surges. Even in the Keys, they're going to have some storm surges, all right? But look at some of these wave heights here, 25 footers from this storm here. And as we go into Wednesday, you can see those 25 footers moving in, and we're going to be dealing with severe all throughout the Florida Panhandle. Pretty much the entire west coast of Florida is going to be dealing with this storm surge. And then we have the effects from Franklin, too, as well. So looking at when you can see in the heart of Franklin, we could have waves. Who knows? There could be some 50-footers in there. Bermuda's definitely going to see a lot of big waves. We're going to start, again, seeing the effects of those big waves, I think, Wednesday. However, because Franklin is so far out, I think it won't be as severe effect for us. Probably have some element, but it's so far out. But it will have effects, and the models could always be underestimating those effects. You can see there's even a purple area there where, yeah, I mean, nuts, some of these waves here that we could have. And then we have the swell, too. This is a swell model that we have as well. That's showing the swells that come from this as well. But again, this is mainly going to be an issue for, the fish. It's going to be an issue for the ocean. Not so much. Franklin will have some effects on land, elevated, but it's this storm here. This is the one that we've got to worry about here. And this has got plenty of warm water to work with. So Idalia is going to cause a big problems for Florida. And they're going to start feeling the effects, I think, tomorrow evening. And it's just going to progressively get worse for them, and we're going to look at the next major natural disaster to hit the continent of North America, or even the world, because they're natural disasters occurring all over the world. Or maybe they're considered unnatural disasters because of all the warmth we've put into this world with all our continued incessant burning of fossil fuels. That's the thing. So it's gonna be really, really bad, this storm. And again, we'll go back to the NAM, and we'll look at the wind, because this is where we're gonna be again dealing with. This is gonna be a monster here. All right, this is just look at this. I mean, this thing is gonna be a monster. I think by tomorrow, this thing is going to be tomorrow, probably even as early as we saw a fast Franklin strengthen, that we could be dealing with a Category 3 in 12 hours from now, perhaps. Once this thing gets out over the water, it's going to really strengthen quite a bit. The only good news is it is going to move at a decent clip. This is the lower end wind. Usually I use wind gusts, but you can see the kind of wind that we're dealing with. Tampa may avoid. Well, 70 mile an hour is still respectable. So it looks like Tampa might escape yet again, because it's not really heading directly for Tampa. It's heading more for this area of Florida, which fortunately is a little light. Well, there's Gainesville, and Ocala. This is somewhat more lightly populated, so, but it's still going to cause a lot of problems. Tallahassee, 104 miles an hour. Well, not in Tallahassee, but around that area. There's going to be some strong winds, and there's nothing to say that this wind field could be bigger. So, all I know is we know that we're looking at a really serious situation for Florida with this storm, and this is going to be really bad. I know a lot of people like to live in Florida, but you're in a low-lying peninsula, and you're going to see more and more of these storms due to climate change. Though we know a lot of people in Florida don't believe in climate change, even after all the hurricanes they get, which is crazy. But anyway, that is going to be it for this video. Again, as we watch the landfall of Idalia in about maybe 30 hours from now, or a little over 30 hours from now in Florida. But that's going to wrap up this weather update. Thank you for watching, and have a good night.